Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Ukraine and Russia have each blamed each other after a fire broke out at the giant Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant on Sunday. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky said Russian forces had started the fire at the plant, which has been occupied by Moscow's forces for more than 2 years. Zaporizhzhia's Kremlin-installed governor said Ukrainian shelling caused the blaze. The development comes as Ukrainian troops have advanced up to 30 kilometers inside Russia in the deepest and most significant incursion since Moscow began its full-scale invasion in February 2022. Ukrainian soldiers have been seen raising their country's flag in several Russian villages. Russia has so far struggled to halt the Ukrainian advance, with more than 76,000 people evacuated from the Kursk region. A wildfire fueled by gale-force winds is spreading to the edge of Athens as thousands of residents are told to flee their homes. The fire brigade spokesman said houses caught alight in Varnavas, about 20 miles northeast of the Greek capital, and a children's hospital and military medical facility had been evacuated at dawn. Firefighters from across Greece, around 670 in total, have come to the area north of Athens to help local forces. The US has sent a guided missile submarine to the Middle East as tensions grow in the region. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin also said an aircraft carrier, which was already heading to the area, would sail there more quickly. The move comes in response to fears of a wider regional conflict after the recent assassination of senior Hezbollah and Hamas leaders. Iran is being closely watched for any indication of how and when it might respond to the assassination of Hamas's top political leader, Ismail Haniyeh, in Tehran on the 31st of July. Hong Kong's top court has unanimously dismissed the bid to overturn the convictions of media tycoon Jimmy Lai and 6 other pro-democracy campaigners for an unauthorized assembly in 2019. 76-year-old Lai, the founder of the pro-democracy newspapers Apple Daily and others including Martin Lee, had been found guilty of organizing and participating in an unauthorized assembly in August 2019. Mr. Lai has been held in solitary confinement for more than 3 years since December 2020. He is now facing a separate national security trial and serving a sentence of 5 years and 9 months after being convicted of violating a lease contract for his now shuttered newspaper's headquarters. The president of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, has been sworn in for his 4th term in a ceremony marked by pomp and colour at the fully packed Amahoro Stadium in Kigali. While some hail Mr. Kagame for bringing peace and stability to his country after the 1994 genocide, others accuse him of running a repressive regime in a country where ordinary people are afraid to openly criticize him.
To achieve and sustain peace.
Only 2 other candidates were allowed to stand against Mr. Kagame in the election. A pilot has died after their helicopter crashed into the roof of a hotel in Australia during an unauthorized early morning flight. The aircraft hit the Doubletree by Hilton Hotel in the northern Queensland city of Cairns at around 1:50 local time on Monday morning, sparking a fire and forcing the evacuation of hundreds of guests. Authorities say the only occupant of the helicopter died at the scene, and 2 hotel guests, a man in his 80s and a woman in her 70s, were taken to hospital in a stable condition. Some local media reports have suggested that the helicopter was stolen. And Paris is starting to get back to normal, with Olympic venues being cleaned up and traffic routes restricted during the Games opening up once again. After 19 days of competition, 329 gold medal events, and 10,500 athletes competing in the Olympics, the landscape of the French capital is gradually returning to normal. It's after a dazzling closing ceremony where the Olympic flame was blown out by the head of the IOC with other athletes before he announced the handover of the Games to Los Angeles. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.